Or are these mine? I don't know. What's happening? Oh, it is mine. I've done a Jensen Button. I've gone to the wrong pit box. Well, that was embarrassing. What's going on, guys? My name is Batilio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and round 4 of the WSRC Group A Touring Car Championship, which this week has us in at the lovely Oulton Park Circuit, and it's the full international layout, I believe it's called, that we're going to be taking in. And this week is going to be a little bit different because there have been a couple of changes that have come down from the admins from on up high. They have sent down they have decreed that things will be changed. So basically, for the first 3 rounds, as a lot of you will know if you've watched the series, we've been running 30-minute races, timed 30-minute races. However, that is now changed because we've decided to bring in mandatory pit stops. I think this was due to the fact that not only in Division 2, which I'm in, but also Division 1, there were some people who pit in Portugal, but some people didn't, and you know, it was kind of like, well, maybe everybody should pit just to sort of even it out. But in order to have mandatory pit stops, you have to have, you can't have timed races with mandatory pit stops. They have to be lapped races. So what they're doing now is they're rounding out the amount of laps to make it roughly a 30-minute race. And yeah, so we now have mandatory pit stops. So yeah, those are the 2 changes for this week. But yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at qualifying and see how things went. Okay then, guys, so qualifying, and it wasn't a brilliant qualifying, admittedly, but it wasn't the worst qualifying either. The big problem I was having, myself personally, I think maybe others were suffering with this as well, is given that we set the time of year to like, the actual time of year, which would have been at the time of running this race, the 5th of March, and also you can see it's very overcast, very difficult to get heat into the tyres and keep heating the tyres. You can see that little gauge, little scale with regards to tyres at the bottom of the screen there. The rear tyres, they're pretty much cold. And this is my 5th lap that we're on now, 5th straight lap in a row. And yeah, I couldn't get heat into the tyres, and when that happens, of course, you know, the rear end is going to be skipping and skidding about, and you're going to have to be counter steering, which drags life out of the tyres. The front end is going to be more difficult to get in, and you know, you might find yourself locking your brakes as well because there's just not enough heat in the tyres to create friction to slow the car down. So that all adds up and starts dragging life out of the tyres, and can compromise you and make your qualifying even harder. But yeah, I don't know if everybody was experiencing this. I assume they were because we're all racing in the same conditions. My first sort of lap, I suppose you could say, was I went out and it didn't feel right. The heat should have been coming into the tyres towards the back end of the lap, and it wasn't. So I went in, tweaked the tyre pressures, and came back out, but I just couldn't get life into the tyres. Sorry, the heat into the tyres and keep them there. So we passed someone who's spinning. But as we're coming down to the final corner, as you can see, we're quite a long way off Peo, who is putting an absolutely stellar 144.5. He's a man alone at the top of the table there. He's going down the dip and up the hill towards the start-finish straight and onto the finish line. It's going to be a 146.438, which is still a good 2 seconds off of Peo's absolutely stellar pole position time. But it's good enough to put us 3rd. So, like I said, it wasn't the greatest qualifying, but it wasn't the worst either. It could have been a lot worse than this, in my opinion. But looking at the rest of the grid, as I've said, Peo takes what I believe is his 2nd pole position. I think he may have also taken pole at Oulton Park. Then we've got Popeye, who was the pole sitter last week in Portugal. Then myself. Then we've got a newcomer, the first of 2 newcomers for the series. We've got Sherry Glenn in another Audi in 4th place. Then we've got Mitch, Colonel Redeye, BMC, who returns from his absence in Portugal last week. Then the second of the newcomers, James Hunt in a BMW. We've got Twisted Tyre Fitter in his Cosworth, Tom, and then the last last two that you can't see are Laz, who again returns from his absence from last week, and Matt Jeffrey, who sits bottom of the board. I don't think he actually set a valid lap time, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, so the grid is set. We're just about ready to jump into the race, but before we do, let's just refresh our memories with regards to the table, because as some of you will remember, and I hope you remember, I am currently sitting top of the table with 57 points, a full 12 points clear of Popeye, who is starting on the first row of the grid today. And then we've got Mitch in third place, Matt Jeffrey, who is starting at the back, our pole sitter for today, Peo. Then we've got Atreus, Colonel Red Eye, Twisted Tire Fitter, Hotshot Kev, Silver Wolf, Tom, Laz, BMC, and obviously the two newcomers, James Hunt and Cherry Glen. They haven't got any points yet, but they'll be on the board come the end of this should they complete the race, I imagine. But yeah, so like I said, the grid is set. We're just about ready to go. So what we're going to head down to now is the live commentary from myself. We're going to see what we can do. Okay then, guys, here we go. Another absolutely lightning start. Oh, and we've I ducked out wide to. Yeah, I ducked out wide because I realised that I probably was squeezing the guy on the inside and the other Audi, and oh, nice overtake there by BMC. But yeah, not a brilliant start. So we've got Colonel Red Eye ahead of us that we need to try and negotiate, but and the same problems we were having in qualifying, getting heat in the rear tyres. Seems to be back here as well. So I think Popeye may have had problems there. He's now just ahead of us. Well, okay, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And there goes all the good work out the window. Just can't get the heat in the tyres. It's like driving on ice at the minute. Just so hesitant getting on the power. And we're starting to see rain now. God damn it. Or are these mine? I don't know what's happening. Oh, it is mine. I've done a Jensen Button. I've gone to the wrong pit box. Well, that was embarrassing.
Okay, you're clear. Go.
Well, that was a terrible pit stop because it's all on manual. I don't know why it's all on manual. We normally get driven into it, so I wasn't expecting it. Well, the timing's got a little bit doolally. Ooh. We are getting closer to this guy. I think it's that chicane where I'm losing time. Oh, thank you, Tom. Don't worry, Mr. Race Director, or Mr. Race Engineer, I will. Now we can put pressure on him. Obviously, it's going to be much more difficult to see. And we've got back markers to contest with as well. Whoa! I just got a nudge there. I'm getting a warning for contact on that one. Are you kidding me? Oh, so it seems the timing sorted itself out, and oh shit! Yep, looking at the timings and not the road. Well, that's just completely blown it. Right, no more talking from Matinho. Got to concentrate because this track is a lot trickier to drive in the wet than the Algarve International Circuit. Sherry Glenn, he's had a boo-boo. And we're up to third.
Okay, let's take this back marker. Nice and clean now, no risk.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh, god damn it. Now the car's pulling to the right, sorry. Got fixated on that back mark and what he was doing. So now we've got, well, about 4 laps left with a car that's damaged. I mean, we've got a big buffer to the guy behind, but not ideal. And that scuppers any hope of a possible surprise win should the other two up top get yeah, should the other two get into bother, I'm just gonna have to grin and bear it, I think. Oh, is that? Oh, that's Peo. Peo's just had a problem. So I'm just going to have to tiptoe through these last 4 laps. Well, there's Peo. He's had another issue. I don't know whether he's maybe tangled with that back marker. I think realistically, Peo will catch us, but I'm going to try my best to not let that happen. Because we're a couple of laps from a second place finish. Okay then guys, here we are onto the final lap. Peo hasn't been able to catch it. Oh shit, now he will. Yep, okay. fuck off. Oh, god damn it. I just hit that bloody puddle on the apex. Oh god, why did you open your mouth, Matt? Why did you open your mouth? Because that's when you start losing your concentration. Can't believe I just did that. Well, after the opening race, after the oh, and Peyo's had an accident now as well. Well, I don't know where to go. Ooh, that was a moment. So now we're going to be under pressure until the final corner. Got to shut up and concentrate. Oh, and Peyo drops it on that puddle on the apex of the corner. Popeye obviously wins. And we're going to come home to finish, I don't know whether you can call it deserved, but we're finishing second. And I tell you what, that was a hell of a lot tougher, that race, than the Algarve. I think it's just because it's so narrow and there's, like you just saw, that massive puddle on the turn 1 apex. And I mentioned this, I mentioned it in the last week's episode about the whole live track 3.0 not really taking into account drainage properly, I don't believe. I think if they had puddles that size at turn 1 in an actual race, I think it'd be red flagged. I don't think that'll allow people to do it because that's just an accident waiting to happen. But it's second place. I think, like I was trying to get at when I was talking before, I think my little accident coming onto the final lap was that after the boo-boo of the first corner, it was just kind of damage limitation, and this is the best possible scenario. We haven't won the race. Obviously, Popeye has won the race, and well done to him. But in terms of the championship, I think at the moment we're still just top of it. But the lead has been cut, probably halved actually. So it was 12 points, and now it's probably going to come down to 6 points. Sorry, I can't even think. But anyway, enough talking from me. I'm going to pass over to the other Matinho for the post-race analysis. So there you have it then, guys. Round 4 at Oulton Park in the books, and from my perspective, from my point of view, all things considered, I think second place is a pretty good result. Considering we had, there was the off at the beginning, which lost us a bunch of places and put us on the back foot. We had the accident which damaged the car. There was a few other offs here and there as well. So I think overall, second place is a pretty good result. I think without those issues, I probably could have been a lot closer to Popeye. I'm not saying I would have won the race, but I think I maybe could have put a bit more pressure on him and maybe got a bit closer, but we'll never know now. But congratulations to him, absolutely superb race. I don't think he put a foot wrong, and I think he pitted a bit earlier than everybody else, so he went through a lap in the dry on the wet tyres, which might have been tricky, I'm not sure. But yeah, very good result for him. Looking at the rest of the results, as you can see, ourselves finishing second, Peyo recovering to finish third. Then we got a Twisted Tyre Fitter in the Cosworth with a very good 4th place finish. A lot of people have remarked how tough that Cosworth is to drive, not just in the dry, but in the wet as well. So, very good result for him. Then we've got Matt Jeffrey, who recovered from the back of the grid to finish 5th. We've got Sherry Glenn, who was right up there with Popeye and Peyo at one point, but then had an accident and fell back, and I think he had to pit to repair the damage. So he finishes 6th there, but still decent result for his first round. Then we've got Tom finishing in 7th, Colonel Red Eye in 8th. BMC Racing, he was right up there, but I think he also had some issues. Then we've got Laz. I And we also lost a couple of during the race. I know we lost James Hunt, and I think we lost Mitch as well. I think he had an issue during the race also. But yeah, there are the results for you. Take a look at the actual table now. And as I remarked within the live commentary, our lead has come down at the top of the table. It's down to 7 points now, so I'm on 77 and Popeye is on 70. And then we've got Peo on 52 points, so a little bit further back, good 18 points back on Popeye and 25 points on ourselves. And then we've got Matt Jeffrey with 50, Twisted Tire Fitter with 41, Mitch, due to his problems, falls all the way to 6th. We've got Colonel Redeye, Atreus, who wasn't participating in this week's race, unfortunately, Hotshot Kev, Silverwolf, Tom, BMC Racing, Laz, and the newcomer Cherry Glen as well, coming in with 10 points there. So yeah, guys, that's the end of today's video, pretty much. Like I said, it was a pretty good result, all things considered. Finishing second place against some very, very good drivers is good, but I think it could have been better, if I'm being honest. But you know, we'll never know. Next time out, we're heading to Zolder in Belgium, and again, there's a good possibility at the moment that the conditions are going to be very changeable when we head for that round. So yeah, but like I said, guys, that's the end of today's video, so thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy, would like to see more Project Cars 2 or racing content from myself, then make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to get involved with the guys from the Weekly Sim Racing Championships, it's not just Group A touring cars, they have a lot of different events, not only on PS4 but also on PC as well. So if you want to get involved in that, make sure you check the link in the description to their Facebook page. Tell them Matinio sent you. But again, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace!